out of my head.
I am not a square person. My notebook, my project, has magazine clippings, some curled, some jagged, peeking out of the edges, propping the pages up. Inside, the first thing I have written is the lyrics to Red Sneakers by IU. The annotations are in red ink from a red girl in a red dress. I am as red as I am rounded with hopes and dreams inside false cherub cheeks. IU says we live a square's dream, but her flower bookmark looks over round words with detail and attention to detail. This EP is the third installment in a series of understated songs with meaning that cannot be overstated. The album starts with Red Sneakers, with IU qualifying different kinds of yearning, longing for you versus waiting for you. There is no grammatical subject in these lines, but they each end with a second-person pronoun as if subtly hinting who is the priority, the end-all be-all. As such, one might choose to believe that love is a limiting thing, at least for the speaker. The sentence structure itself throughout the song suggests this. There is anaphora in the form of a question, don't you know, combined with parallel structure, it's you, it's only you. And that is followed by more anaphora, hold me in your eyes. They also present their words to the subject in the most palatable way possible. I will be your love, maybe this is love. On the other hand, the speaker seems to not want to be the one consumed, but to do the consuming. Deep night, white stars, let's fly together through those skies. But they are open in a tight-lipped sort of way, as noted by their usage of this versus that, the only way to discern who they speak of. They hold this information close to their chest and are being vulnerable and sharing alone. There is also a dissociation between the self and appearance or person, as they note clothes and even hair and heart like it is simultaneously all they are and foreign. But they are very deliberate with the literal details they mention, such as blue shorts. As they uncover their physical foundations, they could hint at a lack of emotional awareness. In contrast to their description of those skies, they come back to the thought of themselves and Earth in red sneakers. There is a familiar affection in their allusion to the little print. A hint this song itself is an allusion to the red shoes, an earlier IU song, and they are simultaneously obsessed with love and themselves with cyclical thoughts of both. In Never Ending Story, the song starts with lots of qualifiers just to say they barely stand, indicative of real struggle. They are grateful for their breath, but have little more than that. There is near rhyme, it's imperfect, and even if things are similar, they have also changed as the subject no longer stays. There is a distinction between staying and sitting. This chair is somewhere they exist over an extended period, indicating some degree of ownership and attachment. There is also a distinction between wind and breath, with wind surviving. They either didn't say goodbye or the speaker still can't believe it. The chorus is a direct continuation of the pre-chorus that builds an audacity. There is no grammatical subject and there are conflicting tenses. There's an unreliable narrator and things are framed in terms of media. They say life was trembling, but the subject lives in the past but lives on, despite life's fragility and a cyclical song structure. In October 4th, the speaker describes their emotional reactions as recurring experiences, citing fleeting memories and how they hold their breath. Their diction is very vague, lately, somehow hazy, that girl, either way. Meanwhile, there are distinctions between moments of the past and memories. There's a distinction between dissociation and association, but they say nothing more about it, dismissing their own feelings. They connect their thoughts to physicality, saying their feelings soaked them. Water is also historically representative of life throughout literature, and they talk about the subject, making them reminisce, as if passing the blame for all of this. However, distance makes the heart grow fonder, as we see with the fox simile, but we're expanding upon the limits of life, as foxes are animals associated with magic. They then focus on a brief moment where they drifted off and things are thus blurred and distorted. They ask about the subject holding on to them, a possible callback to Red Sneakers where they told the subject to hold them in their eyes. The past is in the eyes, but now they whisper and complain, these dual tags surrounding a sentiment about not being held too pure. They couldn't say a word though, as if feeling guilt or shame, perhaps tied to that girl. They say the subject is not by their side, gone and not here, truly lamenting. But they also say gone is inside this heart of theirs, a description inside a line, inside a verse. They also say the subject is beautiful, then to stop several times as if breaking down or close to it. Last Scene tells a harrowing story relying on subtext. They felt like they couldn't express themselves, and the subject comments on this, but it takes a long time for them to understand that now things are different, but everything else is different too. They have separated, but they were never on the same wavelength and only know now. They will express love now, essentially talking to someone who isn't there. Also, the way they express themselves is erratic and people feel real concern. They say, after a long time I found out later, but how late was it? They continue to get more erratic and they're still worrying for the subject, but things stop changing only now. They are in a downward spiral with polysyndeton ending with and nothing changes, where the speaker is not the grammatical subject of the line anymore. The I is lost. In A Beautiful Person, the speaker keeps count, saying every sight is special, but they want more. They are so focused on the subject that they don't even get around to saying I. They address the subject's demeanor, asking a question of it as if they need an answer, but seeming content as they pull the strings to keep conversing. The number of times things occur is repeatedly specified, and anyone's desires are contrasted with the single time they may have met the subject. But overall, this emphasizes a sense of unity. They also focus on sight in comparison to knowing, wanting to know who they are, not know them. They say everyone loves the subject, and they do too, but it's different, prompting questions of if the love is normalized, societal, and thus in societal terms. They stare without knowing at first, calling them a beautiful person, not the beautiful person, and they become lost in such a trance that they lose the guidance of punctuation. They present a natural simile referring to a violet in May, as well as figurative action in soaring through the sky. The earth seems to note appearances while the sky is unashamed and free. In Square's dream, everything is square and capitalized except the word shaped, as if divinity had nothing to do with the shaping. They cite square-shaped beds, windows, doors, tables, smartphones, backpacks, books, buses, buildings, schools, classrooms, blackboards, audio systems, computers, TVs, calendars, either the father or their father's wallet, cash, pamphlets, academies, floors, picture frames, business cards, names, speakers, cassette tapes, dictionaries, bookshelves, drawers, letters, memories, taguki, magazines, and dreams. It seems shape is not the same as representation, as we don't know if people are square, if their identities are square like their names, memories, and dreams, but language and communication in smartphones and books are square, money is square, education is square. Every day is the same, just breathing to breathe when there is no diversity. Adults are proud and wise about living with rounded hearts, but the world doesn't reflect that. Are their illusions of pride and wisdom unfounded? The world is round, so they are living in an unnatural state, like in a fallen world of sin, but sin is just being square. Their fortune of the month is their only joy, as they only enjoy getting answers from others, hopeless. But is this a dream? Should we form our feelings based on the song if the song is about not all being the same? Are we living a square person's ideal life with some square person in power? Overall, love and life are well and good when they do not constitute losing yourself. Pay attention to the details in your life, for they color your world and make you human. Live with a rounded heart, rounded dreams. Round your identity if you can, and identify the roundness in our world.